a real estate boy, and I'm a licensed real estate agent in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Delaware. And today, I'm going to be talking about today's market is nothing like 15 years ago. I know you guys are probably looking at the news and they're like, oh, is this like 15 years ago? I'm going to break it down how this market that we're in right now is totally not like the market of 15 years ago. Okay. So there's no doubt that today's market is very different than the frenzied one from the past couple of years. Okay. You had a bunch of years where it seemed like everything was just rosy. All right. Prices just, well, I guess it depends on if you were a buyer or a seller. So the last couple of years, sellers, it's been awesome. As far as buyers, it's been a total madhouse out there. Okay. So in the second half of 2022, there was a dramatic shift in the real estate market, and it caused many people to make comparisons to 2008's housing crisis. I know I used to hear it all the time. Is this going to be like 2008? Is this going to be like 2008? Um, I've heard it over and over and over again. And the thing about it is that the media didn't do any good. Okay. The media just kept kind of piling on, and it's like a train wreck. So they want you to watch their program. So since they want you to watch their program, they're going to compare it to the last train wreck, which was 2008. So while there may be a few similarities when looking at key variables now compared to the last housing cycle. There are significant differences. And no, this is business. So in business, you have ups and you have downs. And we see this. And we see this, but it's just a lot of people who are in the market right now, they've only experienced ups. So when the market does is a little bit unreliable if you want, they start shucking and jiving, and they're kind of going back to, okay, what was the last crisis? The last crisis was the 2008 housing crisis. Okay. So if you look at in the last real estate forecast summit, okay, the chief economist for NAR, who's which stands for the National Association of Realtors, okay, he actually drew a comparison between today's housing market and the previous cycle. Okay, so let's take a look at these numbers. All right. So first we have job cuts. I can't talk today. Job cuts. Okay. Net gains and losses. In the last housing cycle, there were 8 million jobs lost. Okay. In the housing crisis in 2008, there were 8 million jobs lost. Currently, in this housing cycle, there's no jobs lost. You can't even find people to work. I go to Wawa this morning and it's a sign up there, hey, starting out at $15. I look at McDonald's, they are starting at $14. Nobody wants to work, or it's as if nobody wants to work these days. Okay. Totally different during the last housing cycle in 2008. Also, total jobs. Okay. And this is from a household survey. But total jobs, the last housing cycle in 2008, there were approximately 138 million jobs. Today, there's approximately 158 million jobs. Okay, total difference. Also, subprime loans. Subprime. Back in 2008, I remember I had a buddy that worked for Countrywide. And I'm telling you, he was just in his basement. And he's one of my Facebook friends. He's a big Redskins fan. But I mean, he's just in his basement. He's just cranking out loans, worked for Countrywide. He tried to put me on the Countrywide. But they were just giving Lottie Dottie and everybody money. So it's kind of like if they put a mirror up to your nose, they was giving you money. And the thing back then was something called stated loans. And what that meant is that you didn't have to show proof of your income. You can just tell them, hey, I make $1 million a year. And they would just, you would write it down and you were good. Okay. So back then, subprime loans were super prevalent. Now there's really none. You really can't find they're virtually it's virtually none. All right. Next is new construction. So um the previous 5 years to 2008, there was 7.65 million of new construction. So that meant that that wave, okay, now had to be sold when 2008 kind of bottomed out. But in the current housing cycle for new construction, we're only slated in the previous 5 years, only 4.6 million new constructed homes were built. So what does that mean? Means that the inventory is still low. The inventory is still low. In Philadelphia, the last time I checked, there's something called months of supply. Months of supply means, okay, if I was to stop right now, how long would it take me to buy up all the homes in Philadelphia? A healthy market is 6 to 7 months. Philadelphia, the last time I checked, was at like a little bit under 2 months. Okay. So that means that there's still a ton of homes on the market. And in order for us to have a crisis like we had last time, there needs to be more homes. Okay. So next is inventory. This is something that I just talked about. During the last cycle, there was 3.8 to 4 million homes on the market. Now it's 1 to 1.2 million. It's a big drop off, a huge drop off. Okay, again, the inventory on the market during the last housing cycle was close to around 4 million homes. In this current cycle, it's only 1 million homes, or close to around 1 million homes. All right, next is mortgage delinquency. Okay, how many mortgages are going delinquent? Meaning what? People are not paying their mortgage. In the last housing cycle in 2008, okay, around 10%, a little over 10% of mortgages was falling in delinquency. Right now, it's like 3.6. It's a huge drop off, a huge drop off. And also, the last stat why this housing cycle is nothing like the last housing cycle is homes that are in foreclosure. And people to this day, they still come up to me, Khalid, what's up with the foreclosures, man? And I tell them, listen, it's not as sweet as it used to be. And that's what they don't understand. It used to be sweet. I mean, banks at that time, I think they were surprised and they had all this inventory of homes. And if you know about banks, you know that they got to pay taxes on those homes that's just sitting there. So they were trying to get rid of them at scale because they had so much of them. But now there's not so many homes for in foreclosure. It's under 1% as far as homes that are in foreclosure. So are foreclosures still a deal? If you can find them, because usually what happens is foreclosures sell under their value. But banks are in the business of what? Making money. So they're going to try to sell those homes for their price. Okay. So looking at the facts, it's clear that today is very different than the housing market 15 years ago. Okay, so there is opportunity in real estate today. All right, in today's real estate market with inventory rising and less competition from other buyers, there's opportunity right now. Okay, the assistant secretary of housing said, so be advised, this may be the one and only window for the next few years to get into the buyer's market. And remember, as the Federal Reserve data shows, home prices only go up and always recover from recessions, no matter how mild or severe. Long term home owners should view this market right now as a unique buying opportunity. I'm going to say that again because maybe y'all didn't hear me. I'm going to say that again. This is what the former Assistant Secretary of Housing said. He said, be advised, this may be the one and only window for the next few years to get into a buyer's market. And remember, as the Federal Reserve data shows, home prices only go up and always recover from recessions, no matter how mild or severe. Long-term home ownership should, long-term homeowners should view this market right now as a unique buying opportunity. So this is where you get in. I know some of you are seeing on the TV, and it's like, oh, buy. People out there are saying, oh, in the investment community, the birth strategy is dead. Okay. But here's the thing, we're in a recession, and the Federal Reserve data shows prices always, he didn't say sometime, he said always goes up after a recession, whether the recession is mild or severe. So some of you may say, oh, well, what about what about mortgage rates? What about mortgage rates? Here's the thing, you're not locked into the mortgage rates. You can always refinance. There are other options than 30-year fixes. Okay. There are other options. There are adjustable mortgages out there. They give you a lower upfront. Now, that's not for everybody. It's definitely not for everybody, but it is for some people. Okay. Well, listen, if you are interested in buying a home, or selling a home or investing in real estate, definitely get with me. You can go to www.khalidnathanalim.com, book a conference call with me so we can sit down and talk about the different opportunities that can be afforded to you in this unique selling or unique buying opportunity market. This is Khalid Nathan Alim. I'm out, y'all.